let's look at problem 8.2. Which one is this now? 18. And so we're going to apply sampling distribution proportions to this context here. 21% of adults do not own a credit card. And suppose you do a sample in the country, so the population is the whole country. Suppose a simple random sample of 700 adults is obtained. So we're going to take a sample, n equals 700. P is 0.21. We're going to check to see, describe the sampling distribution. We know it's normal 1 because n times p times 1 minus p is greater than 10. We also know that 700 is less than 5% of the country's population, so we meet those conditions there. We then know the sampling distribution, right? The mean of the proportions of the sampling distribution is 0.21. That matches what p is. That's always going to be the same. And then this adjusted standard deviation, 0.21 times 0.79 divided by 700, square root of that, you get 0.154, 3 decimal places there. And so now with that given information, we're able to calculate the probabilities. So what is the probability that a simple random sample of 700 adults, more than 23% do not own a credit card? Remember, this is coming from a population of 21%. And so what's the probability that the proportion is greater than 0.23? We get 0.4483. Again, where does that come from? We're going to put 0.21 in here. The standard deviation is 0.154. 0.154. And we're looking to see that it is greater than 0.23. And so that's where I get the 4483 from on this problem here. If 100 different samples of 700 adults were obtained, one would expect around 45 to result in more than 23 not owning a credit card. Again, 100 times this probability, and then you convert it to a whole number in this case. What is the probability that a random sample of 700 adults is between 18% and 23%? What's that probability? That answer would be the same. We changed nothing, and we're looking for 18 to 23%. So you put 0.18. I would put 0.23 there, compute, and so I get 1.29. 3 decimal places, 4 decimal point 1.289. That's what we get there. Again, if you had 100, move that decimal place. I'm looking around 13, right? If you do 100 times this, you get about 13 to result in between 18% to 23%. Now, this last question, a little tricky, is that would it be unusual for a random sample of 700 adults to result in 126 or fewer? Do not notice this is a whole number. It's not a proportion. We're dealing with proportions, so I have to convert 126. I have to find the probability that p hat is less than, not just 126, but 126 over 700. And so in this case here, I want it less than 126 over 700. That's what I'm computing. And then you get your answer there. You could also put the decimal equivalent of 126 over 700, but I just wrote it as that proportion that I was looking for, and so that's where you get your answer there. And so we would say it's not unusual because it would have to be less than 5% to be unusual.